UFC. I am the greatest combat athlete of all time.
So who's excited for this weekend? That's right, the Korean Zombie versus Max Holloway. You guys, welcome to this episode of Tell the Tape. I'm your host, Henry Cejudo, aka Triple C. And on today's episode, that's right, we have the Korean Zombie versus the blessed Max Holloway. This video wouldn't be possible without our sponsors. That's right, Cookie Co. When you guys want all natural ingredients, whatever you guys want to indulge, you guys make sure to go to cookieco.com and find the closest store near you. At 24-7 versus 17-7. Man, it's crazy how many losses. I'm surprised with Holloway. I mean, look at the amount of losses that he actually has, but he has lost to the best guys. 10 KOs versus 2 KOs. 10 KOs, 2 submissions versus 6 KOs and 8 submissions, which is interesting right here. There's still a submission game with the Korean Zombie. You guys remember that crazy twister that he ended up hitting? I forget on who it was, but he ended up hitting like the first twister in UFC history. You know, 5'9" to 5'11". You know, his reach 69, inch reach is 72, which is something to kind of keep in mind. Analogy, at the age of 36 to the age of actually 31. He's still fairly young, which is crazy, the amount of battles that Max Holloway has gone through. But without further ado, let's get to Max Holloway, his strengths. What are Max Holloway's strengths? I'm gonna tell you right now, guys, it's his volume and his conditioning. The level of volume that he could just go in and pretty much throw punches and kick and be able to feel the first round like it's the fifth is pretty amazing. I believe he has a punch stats in UFC history for most punches thrown. The diversity of now throwing of not just using the hands. If you watch his last fight against Arnold Allen against the Brit, I mean, he started to diversify his striking with a lot of leg kicks. And dude, Max Holloway with hands, and now you're talking about Max Holloway with kicks. That's a dangerous dude. You know, and obviously his boxing consistency. I mean, he will literally outbox. He's been outboxing everybody since the UFC, since maybe Dustin Poirier. But the rest, guys, Max Holloway has outboxed all of his opponents except 2 people. I take that back. Dustin Poirier and Alexander Volkanovski. And obviously his championship experience. I mean, as of right now, according to numbers, I'm not sure if he's ahead of Volkanovski, but I would almost put him maybe next to Jose Aldo as the greatest featherweight of all time. Where it might be Aldo, Volkanovski, Holloway. I think that's the way you would kind of format it. But either way, man, this dude's conditioning, his volume is out of control. And now that he's diversified his striking and he's throwing kicks, with this crazy boxing, he's got a great boxing coach. With his championship experience, I do believe that that's what makes Max Holloway the blessed Holloway. But without further ado, let's get to his weaknesses. We all have them, guys. Believe it or not, Triple C has them too. But anyhow, you know, Max Holloway's defense, he tends to fight everybody the same. In that second fight with Alexander Volkanovski, I had a feeling they're telling me, because that first fight was so close and a lot of people thought that Max Holloway actually won. Or I think it was the second or the first or the second fight. I want to say they fought 3 times. That I was surprised that Max Holloway brought the same game plan. Throwing hands, same thing. I mean, if that could work on 99% of the people, cool. But what about that 1% with a guy like Volkanovski? Same game plan. And he relies too much on his volume. And that's actually what hurt him in that fight against Volkanovski. You know, and according to the volume that he does have, it's also a gift, but it could also be a weakness too, because he hasn't had a finish since 2018. In other words, he'll hurt people, but he's a TKO guy. Or I'm sorry, he's a guy that really can't, because he throws a lot of volume. A lot of that volume is actually sacrificed because of power. But that's probably not Max Holloway. He's probably not a guy that has power that'll put you away. But he has enough volume that's actually going to finish you. But he hasn't had a finish since when? Since 2018. And without further ado, I would like to talk about my training partner, the Korean Zombie. Man, the Korean Zombie is special. The Korean Zombie, there's one thing that he does have. And you know what it's called that Max Holloway doesn't have? He has power. The Korean Zombie could hit. He could hit. I remember helping him for that camp. Man, that dude, I was bleeding, man. That dude hit me with a straight right. I forget what it was. And man, I couldn't stop bleeding for a day. It was like inside my lip. But and he was trying to hold back on the punch too. But what he does have power. You know, his experience of competition. You know, yet even though he never became a UFC champion, he's always fought the best at featherweight. I mean, you're talking about him fighting the best, like you know, all the way from Volkanovski to Jose Aldo to, you know, being the first guy to hit the twister. I mean, this dude has championship experience like you wouldn't believe. But the other thing too is his grit. He will die on his sword. You live by the sword. He likes to cut, or he will be cut. I mean, he's got a grit that, you know, that he's got that foreign grit. It's like, no, it's like there's dignity, there's honor, strength and honor. And that's kind of how he lives by. If you're going to beat me, you better kill me. And he's got sneaky submissions. I mean, I've rolled with this dude. This dude, I remember I shot in one time and, you know, I picked him up and we kind of just play whatever, but he was able to triangle me. I'm just like, hey, show me that. Like, you know what I mean? Off of a low single. And it was something incredible that he does that makes a guy like the Korean Zombie extremely special. But without further ado, I also got to go through Korean Zombie's weakness. And the biggest thing, I'll go back to that Alexander Volkanovski fight. And the biggest thing that I was trying to get him and the whole team to do, which I'm just like, hey man, Volkanovski's too quick, was his stance. He leans forward too much. He's kind of almost like too squared. It may work for him maybe against Holloway because Holloway may not kick, but just the fact that he's kind of like, he leans a little bit, he kind of becomes squared. Because I get it if you're gonna punch, but that was that's the biggest thing that I saw from the Korean Zombie. But I'm not sure if he can, you know, show old dog new tricks. The other thing too, he is a slow starter. He will take a few hits before he's like, whoo, I'm in the fight. Like, you know what I'm saying? The Korean Zombie actually gets better as actually the fight actually goes on. And then sometimes it's the tactical adjustments. I mean, we saw the fight against Yair Rodriguez. Like, yeah, you don't want to say it was a lucky elbow because Yair was trying to throw it throughout the whole fight. If you watch it, round 1, he threw it, round 2, he threw it, round 3, round 4, but he never really made those adjustments. And then sure enough, that 10-second bell hit. And then Yair Rodriguez ended up throwing that elbow, ended up catching him, ended up putting him out. So I feel like he could do a lot of those rather than just bringing the fight and fighting everybody. I mean, it's probably one of the best things that you can do, that you have fight in you. But can you tactically adjust to somebody and not get hit repetitively with a certain punch? So here are the, you know, here are the punch stats. You know, strikes landed per minute 7.16 to 3.97. You know, strikes absorbed per minute 4.79 to 4.3. You know, they're both pretty. There's accuracy there. It's like kind of similar. Striking accuracy is right here. You have to give it to Holloway. Holloway's volume is like absolutely ridiculous. But then check it out. Submission average 0.7. You got to give it to Zombie. And then obviously takedown defense. Takedown defense. I tell you what, man, people underestimate this a little bit from Holloway. You don't see Holloway on his back that much. So who is this? So who is, you know, so they're fighting in Singapore. It's going to be a great fight. I think if there's a fight that could really do some damage to a guy like Max Holloway, a more dangerous guy, it's going to be a guy with actual power. And who has the power advantage? It's this guy right here. My biggest thing is, does the Korean Zombie actually have the ability to really tactically pinpoint a punch to be able to take out Max Holloway? Because in every other area, when it comes to that, Max Holloway, you know, you can probably say he's got the better boxing, he's got the length advantage, he's got the experience advantage. Well, not really. The experience goes to both. But if this man is able to find this dude and fight the right fight, he could beat him. But right now, it seems like more of that ball is actually gearing more towards Max Holloway. I'm not going to make a decision here, guys, 'cause I hate being wrong. But if the Korean Zombie can make Max Holloway come in and actually counter him, I can see a right hand really putting out a guy like Max Holloway. But Max Holloway can take a hit. He's an experienced fighter. So the only way to find out, guys, is you guys make sure to tune in. That's right, to ESPN Plus. Guys, I'm your host, Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C. You guys know I will always deliver. And this episode was sponsored by the one and only, that's right, Cookie Co. Whenever it is you guys want to indulge, you guys want cinnamon swirl, you guys want cookies and cream, you guys want some damn cake with all natural ingredients, that's right. You guys make sure to go to cookieco.com and get your cookie on. I'm your host, Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C. Stay tuned till next time. I'm out!